The impetus behind the creation of New Deal of the Mind was really accidental. I was a journalist working in Westminster, and I just become a little bit fed up of all the rhetoric around the original Roosevelt era New Deal that was coming out of the Brown government. And I said, well, it's all very well trying to create jobs through laying broadband cables or greening our buildings by lagging roofs, but actually that's not particularly interesting work, perfectly honourable work, but not particularly interesting work. And perhaps in the 21st century we could think of a little bit more imaginative ways of getting people back into work. And so I came up with the idea of using the creative industries, one of our growth areas, as a place where you could create work. And I simply, at the outset, wrote an article for the New Statesman suggesting this. Initially, my suggestion was an entirely Keynesian one. I suggested that what we needed to do was adapt the Roosevelt Keynesian model of using the public sector to create jobs, but move it into the public creative sector. It was a relatively simple idea. It was a challenge to ministers, and they came back to me and said, oh, well, actually, this isn't a bad idea. We haven't got the money to do it, really, but if you could help us, then perhaps we could do this. The idea developed from there into a suggestion that perhaps it could go beyond the public sector and into creating jobs that were part of a more entrepreneurial spirit. So we decided when we moved on from simply having an article in a magazine to creating a charity was we thought we'd really just walk the walk. We'd see if it was possible to create some jobs in the creative sector. So we went about drawing up a coalition of small, medium and large arts organisations who were prepared to put their shoulders to the wheel to create some jobs. We then bid into something called the Future Jobs Fund, which was created by the Labour government to put people back into work, and won 2 contracts, one in London and one around the country, to put people back to work, specifically in creative and cultural jobs. So by the end of 2011, we will have created 700 jobs in this sector. So proving the model, proving that you can do it. What we decided once we'd proved the model, once we proved that you could put people back to work in this sector, is that we wanted to move on and show that what you could do is leave a legacy. What you could do is create jobs based around projects that could create some sort of legacy for the future, whether that was working in archives, digitising the material that was found there, or by simply working on individual creative activity. And we felt that in the end what needed to happen there was to move away, in fact, from the Keynesian New Deal model and create something that was a little bit more based on a mutual organisation, which the people involved in it could have ownership of. So not just the young people that we're putting back to work who would become part of this creative society, but also the employers themselves, so that there was a much more mutual setup of the people that were involved. And so the creative society is something that we think that people will want to be a part of, and that this process of people putting their shoulder to the wheel can progress in a more organic way.